Hi there, Smart Drivers. Rick with Smart Drive Test, standing at the top of the Coquihalla summit in the sunshine. A little brisk up here, it's just on the verge of fall. And for new truck drivers coming down over top of the Coquihalla highway, you're going to need chains in your truck between the 1st of October and the end of April. As well, you're going to need to know how to do downhill braking. I'm just going to go over the map behind me here and give you some information about what you're up against on this 18-kilometer hill. It's a 12-mile hill for those of you watching from the United States and might end up in British Columbia going down one of the more notorious hills made famous by the movie Highway Through Hell. So what we're going to do today, going to give you a bit of information on the descent down the hill from the Coquihalla summit. We'll be right back with that information. Stick around. Hi there, Smart Drivers. Rick with Smart Drive Test. Welcome back. Standing here in the sunshine on the top of the Coquihalla summit. The official name is the Zopkios, but nobody calls it that. Everybody calls it the Coquihalla. It's one of the bigger hills. It's 18 kilometers or 12 miles for those of you in the States. Today we're going to go over the board and give you a little bit of information about that. I got one driver stopped here at the brake check in the rest area. They're both combined and the trucks come in here and stop. The other thing you want to do when you come in the brake check, and as I've said before, put a flag down in your logbook. That way if something happens going down the hill, you've done due diligence because you've put a note in your logbook that you in fact did stop at the brake check and did do the pre-trip inspection that you needed to do before you went down over the top of the hill. At the top of the grade, it's 8% for 5 kilometers, and I'll tell you, between here and the snow shed, which you can see behind me here in the sign, is at the 3-kilometer mark. It is steep, and there's a runaway lane there, and there's a runaway lane there for a purpose, because if you don't get in the right gear going down over the top of that hill, you may end up on that runaway lane because you're driving a truck that got out of control on you. So make sure that before you leave this brake check, you are in the right gear. 13 or 18 speed, 5 low, and a tandem. If you're running heavier or you're running a different transmission, you may be down in a different low gear. For those running recreational trailers and those kinds of things, any large vehicle, you need to be down in a low gear. If you got a Jake brake, you need to have that on full. You need to be ready to come down over the top of this hill, because I'll tell you from personal experience, the first bit of this hill is very steep. Once you get past the avalanche shed, it's not too bad, it's 6%. You still need to be down in a lower gear with the Jake on high, but be prepared for the hill. As you can see, it's a total of 18 kilometers. It's a long way down, and this map here behind you will give you the information that you need to do to descend the hill safely. For those of you who haven't driven through the mountains before, a snow shed simply is in the path of an avalanche and prevents the road from being blocked. So when you go down there, it's essentially a cement tunnel that you're going to go through, and in the wintertime it prevents the road from the Trans-Canada from being blocked. As you can see from the map here, it starts at 0 at the brake check. It's 8% for 5 kilometers down past the snow shed. It's got a runaway lane at the 1/2 kilometer mark, and that will indicate to you that the top part of the hill is the steepest part of the hill, so you need to be ready going down. The snow shed's at 3 kilometers. You've got another runaway lane at about the 5.25 kilometer mark, and down near the end at 12 kilometers you got the chain off area. If it requires chains, there's signs preceding the brake check area that will tell you whether you need to chain up going down the hill as well. If you're going down the hill and you put chains on, it's a good idea to put a single chain on one of the trailer tires to stop the trailer from coming around. As well, down there at the Portia Bridge at the 14-kilometer mark, you got the Shylock Road exit down at the 15-kilometer mark, and it's 6% for another 3 kilometers down at the 16 mark. As well, just after the 16-kilometer mark, you got a runaway lane. Down at the bottom, you got a Ladner Bridge. Beside that sign, you've got the brake check advisory. It tells you how to check your brakes for an air brake system, check the compressor, push rod travel within limits, which on a Type 30 brake chamber on the rear of most buses and trucks is going to be 2 inches. No audible air leaks as you're going around. Glad hands and lines are all secured from the truck to the trailer. Drums, brakes, and bearings. You don't have any smoke coming out. You don't have any cracks or breaks. All the components are secure, not damaged on the vehicle. Trailer air supply valve operates properly. When you pull it out, it exhausts air from the trailer and applies to the trailer brakes. Hydraulic brake systems, push down on the brake pedal, vacuum booster is operating, drums aren't overheating, and you'll be able to smell them if they're overheating. Hydraulic fluid leaks, You've got plenty of fluid in the master cylinder when you open the hood. Most of the newer models are going to be clear plastic, so you just be able to look in it. You won't have to take the lid off. Trailer brake systems, electric, surge, vacuum, and this is for recreational vehicles and people pulling utility trailers. Disconnect the brake system from the tow vehicle for electric and vacuum brake systems. Essentially what they're talking about there is the emergency brakes on the trailer, that if the trailer disconnects from the towing unit, that the brakes on the trailer are going to activate. So activate breakaway devices and lock trailer brakes on, electric brakes set away switch, surge brakes pull and lock mechanical lever. On surge brakes, it's a spring mechanism on the hitch on the front of the trailer, the tow bar. So when it surges forward, it activates the brakes on the trailer. Vacuum and air activated hydraulic brakes, disconnect both hoses to the trailer. Perform a tug test by attempting to pull the trailer. Trailer wheels should not be locked and not move or skid. Reconnect the breakaway devices. So essentially on a utility trailer or a recreational vehicle, you want to test all of the trailer brakes and test the breakaway systems before you end up down over the top. If you've got an automatic vehicle, you want to be in a lower gear, probably down into second or first, depending on how heavy the trailer is that you're pulling before you go over the top of the hill. The other thing you can do with the information here on this map, take note of what the mileage is on your odometer and take the major landmarks going down on the map here. That way you know where the runaway lanes and those things are going to be if you get into trouble going down the hill. You know there's going to be a runaway lane there as well. You know that the avalanche tunnel is going to be at the 3 kilometer mark. So once you get to the avalanche tunnel, you can let off a little bit, maybe shift up one gear if you've been down here before. If you haven't been down here before, just take it slow, take it easy, because like I say about downhill braking, you can go down a hill too slow 1,000 times. The one time you go down too fast, maybe you're last. So proceed with caution until you get some experience with your vehicle that you're operating and you get some experience with the hill. Question for my smart drivers. Do you have any tips for new drivers coming down over the top of the Coquihalla? The Coquihalla being one of BC's longest and steepest hills. There are others, no doubt, but this is one of the most notorious because it's on the Trans-Canada Highway. I'm Rick with Smart Drive Test. Thanks very much for watching. If you like what you see here, share, subscribe, leave a comment down in the comment section. As well, hit that thumbs up button. Check out the videos below. Check out the cards in the upper right-hand corner here. Lots of great information for those drivers getting a license or working towards a career as a truck or bus driver. Thanks again for watching. Good luck on your road test. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great day. Bye now.